The Princess Mermaid. Long ago, there was a king the great who waged war against the countries to the north. The king had many ships and many men, but finally his sailors grew tired of sailing and fighting. They refused to seize one of the northern castles and instead they turned and sailed home, leaving their king behind alone. Cold and abandoned, poor king was obligated to sail for home, alone in a small boat. As he sailed his lonely course, he suddenly saw a beautiful woman standing before him upon the water. She had flowing red hair and beautiful skin that glowed. He fell in love that very moment as he saw her. "I am the sea goddess," she said. "I know you and wish to marry you and return with you to your home." So they traveled home on her magical sea horse, who could gallop across the water. Soon after they returned, the Sea Queen gave birth to a daughter, and they named her Princess. She was as lovely as her mother, and King told his wife that, "I cherish my beautiful princess as I cherish and treasure you." But soon after that, the Sea Queen disappeared. When she saw her daughter Princess was growing more attractive and beautiful than her, and so she returned to her sea world. The king was grief-stricken, but he loved his daughter with all his heart. As much as her father loved her, Princess loved the sea. "Please build me a city on the sea," she begged her father. "Build it right upon the sea so that I can always be on and in the water." And so King built a city at sea level that was so exclusive and mesmerizing. People said it was the most exquisite city in the world. It had a beautiful cathedral, for the king was very religious and pious. To protect the city and its cathedral from the sea, the king had built a great dike. The dike was guarded by a gate. The king owned the only key to that gate for embankment, which he opened only during low tide, when he wanted ships to enter or exit. Time passed and Princess became more and more attractive and lovely. Most of the days she sat upon the shore coast, looking out at the sea and brushing her long, golden red hair. The king looked out from his castle, admiring his daughter. Many others admired her too. All the young men from the city, and all the sailors who passed through, sought Princess's hand in marriage. She charmed everyone. She stayed out singing and dancing every night. She flirted, teased, and flaunted her beauty, but she didn't want to get married. Once a chief of monastery in the nearby vicinity saw the beautiful princess. He watched degradation of the people and saw especially the dangerous behavior of Princess ways. He warned the king, "Your daughter has grown ruthless and heartless. You must change her ways or she will bring about your destruction." But King loved his daughter and was blind to her habits. He did not believe the stories people told him of her flirtatiousness and wildness. And then one day a knight appeared in the city. He was a tall, dark, and handsome stranger dressed in black, with long fingers. And he wooed the princess with kisses. "Come with me. We'll run away across the sea," he said. He brushed his fingers through her golden red hair. She smiled tenderly. "Let us open the dike and ride upon the waves," he said. "My father has the only key to the gate protecting the dike," the princess confessed. "It hangs on his neck. Only he can open the gate." There was a devilish glimpse in the knight's eye as he smiled cunningly at her and said, "Oh, but you could get the key while he sleeps." That night, just as a storm was brewing at sea, Princess entered into her father's room and stole the key from his neck. She gave it to the knight, who was the devil in disguise. The moment he opened the gate, the sea let out a roar, for it was a high tide. A mountainous wave of sea water rose up and crashed down upon the city. The terrifying sound woke the king and all his courtmen. People ran screaming and weeping. The king jumped upon the back of his magical sea horse, and as they rushed over the crashing waves, he saw his city being crushed by the sea. "My daughter!" he cried, and he galloped off in search of Princess. When he saw her clinging to a rock, he lifted her onto the horse, and they rode for safety, out of the reach of the storm. As they galloped over the waves, the king heard a voice. "Drop your daughter," the voice called. "Drop her right now, into the sea, or everything will be ruined." He shook his head. The voice sounded again, but he refused to listen. The voice roared still more loudly, "Push and drop her into the sea." Still he could not, and did not do. He pushed his heels for the horse to ride faster, but the horse whinnied and rose up on his back legs. As the horse raised, the princess fell into the sea, and the horse took off, carrying only the king to safe place. They rode to the north, away from the storm, and when they reached, the king dismounted. He was safe, but his city and his beloved daughter were gone. Everything and everyone was swallowed by the sea. People say when the princess fell into the sea, she got turned into a mermaid, and the storm quieted. Sometimes, on the clearest mornings, ships passing by hear the sound of priests chanting, bells chiming and organs playing from the cathedral of the drowned city. And ever since that day sailors tell tales of a glimpse of the Princess Mermaid. They sometimes see her on a rocky coast, singing and combing her long, golden red hair. If you like the story, please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you for listening.